Third World Cinema Club.
So, welcome to Third World Cinema Club. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion.
Hi, I'm Princess Kinok of Film Police Reviews.
Hi, I'm Jim of Jimmy Kulat, di ba pa?
Hello, I'm Engelbert Rafferty of Film Police Reviews.
And today, we have three very special guests. And they all work together in a movie, Rock and Roll, de joke lang. Midnight in a Perfect World. Yeah. So, director
Yes.
Dodo Dayao is here with us. Yeah. Say hi to our 5 listeners.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Producer Quark Henares.
Hello. Ayun. Hi. Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
listen.
evening, good morning. Ano ba dapat?
Good day, good evening, and
Good
good night.
day, whatever you're listening to, whatever time.
Yeah, also listen to their podcast and Slate. Yeah, we nag-crossover tayo
Yes.
once. Pero yeah.
Yes.
Hinugot natin yung isang host.
Hinugot yung isa host. And of course, one of the 4 leads of the film, Glyza De Castro.
Hello po.
Yan.
Hi, nice to see you guys again.
Yan. So,
Oo nga.
yan, a pleasure to have all of you with us again. In one way or another, you've been with us in other episodes. So, ayun lang. Pero
Ilan nga po yung huli natin? Was it for...
For Sleepless.
for Sleepless.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
So parang nasa rin tayo. Nasa Perfect World, we got them from different episodes.
Parang dream team. Ganun.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll start the ball rolling with isang tanong na I'm sure tinanong na so many different times sa iyo. So how did you start conceptualizing Midnight in a Perfect World? And I guess parang additional wrinkle na rin to that question is instead of what movies influenced you to make this film, I'm gonna ask you what songs influenced you to make this film.
I've been answering this question many times na. I came to me in a dream na panaginipan ko yung premise niya. Pero yun lang, yung premise lang, hanggang sa safe house lang, tsaka blackout. And this was way before I started making film. So, hindi ko siya inisip gawin into anything. I just filed it away. So, that stayed with me, that stayed in one of my files or written down somewhere for a bit until I was commissioned to do a short film on Duterte in the Philippines under Duterte, and they wanted to have a horror interpretation of the subject. So naisip ko buhayin yun and try to turn it into a narrative. Pero nung hindi siya natuloy, tapos sobrang timing kasi I was about to present to Globe and to Quark. I was about to pitch another film. Siningit ko siya. Parang I think it was the night before I sort of made a very, very quick pitch deck based on that. And full conviction na kaya ko itong expand into a feature. So yun. Yung song, siguro later on ko na siya na figure out kasi ugali ko talaga to make playlists for films that I'm working on while I'm writing them and while I'm shooting them. Ironically, hindi DJ Shadow yung naisip yung song na ano. I think I was interviewed by Aldous for Enemy a few weeks ago, and he asked this question, although it never came out in the article. Sisters of Mercy talaga yung top of mind ko, yung Disc Corrosion. Pero I think it just bleeds into that whole genre of dark, melodic, new wave goth. Parang early Cure, bago sila nag-pop. Pornography, era Cure. Yung mga obscure, early first Susie and the Banshees albums. Mga ganun yung tumatakbo sa utak ko while I was sort of writing it. Of course, yung title came from DJ Shadow. Totally different genre.
I actually have that playlist kasi
Ayun.
Ni-request ko yun kay Direk Dodo to help me sa character ko. Ito lang, binabalikan ko lang. Meron kayong Diomedes Maturan.
Wow.
Ayun,
Dahil
yung
sa'yo,
He-Man.
March to the Witch's Castle, Funkadelic, Swimming Pools, Kendrick Lamar, na yun yung most of the time piniplay ko kasi to get me into Jinka's mindset, it really helped me listening to this playlist.
Oh, interesting.
Actually, ask ko rin sana kasi sabi ko parang katulad nung Sada tapes, di ba? Yung mga episodes doon is from song titles, ganyan. So I was actually thinking, baka yung title kaya nakuha niya from a DJ sa Shadow Song. So, knowing
Parang
you.
hindi ko naman sinasadya lahat ng gagawin ko ang title galing sa kanta. Parang naging pattern na lang after Violator. In fact, Violator naman came from an album title. Pero sinunod ko na lang yung ganong trip.
I guess corollary dun sa yung sinabi ni Dodo. Quark, paano yung reaction mo when Dodo pitched the film to you?
Actually, so big fan ako ni Do. Since Violator, religious experience nung nakita ko si Ren Aguila bursting into fire.
Si Ren.
Di ba lagi siyang bursting into fire?
Bursting into fire. At last! Wow! may visual representation. Pero naalala ko nga yung and of course yun, fan ako ng If You Leave and yun, I really wanted to work with Do. Even one of the first things I wanted to do when he started Globe Studios, yung working with Dodo. And then yun nga, naalala ko yung pitch mo, very esoteric yung botanical horror di ba? Yung yeah, and then this one came up, and then a big fan ako ng lo-fi sci-fi, so mga Upstream Caller, mga Primer and stuff like that, na parang and I felt this was more like that than a horror film, and I'd always wanted to see a Filipino film na ganon, and I think Do was the perfect director and writer for that. So yeah, parang yan. Weird pitch meeting kasi parang game, shoot na natin to.
Ayan, I guess the next would be kasi Midnight in a Perfect World is a film that tackles the concept of safety. Na there's this environment na on all outward appearances, it's quote unquote safe, but it's really not. There's always this sort of parang tension all throughout the film, partly due to the atmosphere din, tsaka yung visual, no? And it's very apt na yung horror genre talagang ginamit for this kind of tackling of that lack of safety, because parang its most parang basic form, parang horror is the best horror films are made to unsettle you talaga. It's yung tipong nanonood ka tas parang may nanonood ba sa akin sa likod? Parang may ganong klaseng feeling, di ba? Yun. So it really helps and it's the one thing that I really noticed, I guess mas na-amplify yung effect niya after seeing it. Kasi if I'm not mistaken, Midnight was filmed like before the pandemic, right? Yeah. And nung nilabas siya during the pandemic, everything that this film parang represented or something like that, you feel it more Kasi at the height of the pandemic, walang tao sa streets. It was dark. Dito nga sa Maynila, may purge siren ka maririnig. As in yung literal na ginagamit nilang siren sa purge. Tapos pinapapasok kayo sa bahay kasi curfew na. So may ganun na ako para prophetic ba or parang prescient siya to what eventually happened last year. Hindi naman siguro siya question, more of an observation, pero I guess if you want to comment on that.
Siguro
Yeah,
parang how does it feel now na pandemic siya
Mhm.
pinalabas, tas yung feelings niya is somewhat similar to, curfew and the pandemic and all.
yeah, weird lang din yung parang yung timing niya that it came out during something like that. Of course, obviously that was not the intention naman talaga. Because we could never foresee yung nangyari last year. Pero at the back of my mind, to be honest, nung if we were spending time on it, a lot of time on it sa post, and we were sort of second guessing, kailan kaya ito lalabas, kailan kaya ito lalabas. And things that were going on around us before the pandemic, may pakiramdam na, uy, baka sumakto ah. Kasi we do have sort of like a beta version of martial law going on before the pandemic happened. So parang may ganun ng parang iniisip, may nagko-cross na ng mind ko na parang may overlap. Parang may overlap na if we come out with this, kunyari when we're in 2019, syempre inaayos pa namin, pero parang what if lumabas tayo ng 2019 or next year, not thinking of the pandemic, pero because thinking of events that were going on in the country, parang may sense ka na magkaka-overlap. Sobra lang lakas nung pandemic, na sobra lang siyang on the nose halos, na sumak. So parang, ang hirap sabihin na it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think it's either. It's just timing, I suppose.
Yeah. And I think I remember Direk Dodo telling us nung mga panahon na yon na he was parang giving us this idea na imagine Philippines mga a few years later na colonized na tayo ng mga Chinese. Kasi there was this one scene, di ba, na umiinom si Jinka ng beer, tapos may Chinese character siya. So, yeah, I think it's a little weird na ngayon siya pinalabas. Parang na-prophesy ni Direk Dodo yung mangyayari.
Yun din eh. The thing I liked about this film was, there's a world behind it. Parang may malaking backstory behind it. Na hindi lang siya, for the sake of it na parang storya lang ganun. May built world, kumbaga, na may mga little things gagaya nga na sabi ni Glyza that add to the experience. Parang this is the Philippines but kinda not also the Philippines that we know of. Parang it also adds to the strangeness, kumbaga. Ces or Jim, do you have any questions to ask these lovely
May
people?
May question ako.
Yeah, Jim.
May question ako kay Glyza kasi very interesting yung character ni Jinka. No? And we've seen you in different roles, diba, in TV and film. So, question ko po, meron bang pinapanood si Direk Dodo or may peg ka for that character na Jinka?
Actually, walang peg si Direk Dodo nun eh. Yung guide ko lang talaga was yung playlist na binigay na sa akin that time. Honestly, ibang-iba siya sa mga preparations na nagawa ko before. Parang it was some sort of, parang building the puzzle when we started filming na lang. I didn't prepare ahead of time. And since we were talking about safety, as an actor, parang ginamit ko yung uncertainty dun sa character ko when I was building Jinka's character. Kasi sa totoo lang, if you notice, wala siyang background wala siyang backstory si Jinka. Wala siyang kahit na anong and ayun yung parang sabi sa akin ni Direk Dodo that time na parang siyang enigma. Wala siyang pinanggalingan, di mo alam kung saan siya galing. Except dun sa connection niya with Kendrick, and you also don't know kung paano sila nagkakilala. And she was the main reason why they were able to experience that some sort of weird feeling in relating to magic star. So, parang at that time, wala talaga. Parang binase ko yung character na on the script itself. Walang pegs whatsoever.
Okay. Ayun.
And follow-up question, Miss Glyza, how was it working with your co-actors, with Jasmine Curtis Smith, with Anthony Falcon, and Nino Pastrana?
You know, it's such a great experience. Parang gusto ko silang makatrabaho ulit. Sa totoo lang, I really enjoyed working with them. Parang I always tell them na, alam mo, dapat ganito yung mga pelikulang ginagawa natin, no? Kasi it's so much different from yung mga series na ginagawa ko. Of course, different genre siya. Pero when you work with such amazing actors, hindi mo nararamdaman na work siya eh. Ano siya, parang nagkita-kita lang kaming magkakatropa. Tapos, naisipan lang naming umarte sa pelikula. Parang ganun. No pressure, and I really want to work with them again.
All right. Rafi, you have any questions for us?
Meron.
Yes, go.
Hello. Kasi natutuwa ako dun sa creation ng Midnight in a Perfect World. It's horror siya. Alam mo, Asian horror siya. But at the same time, it's so unique to the point na hindi siya yung jump scare sort of film. Maybe it's predominantly because yung previous film ni Dodo is also politically inclined. Kaya dama mo na ang daming political undertones. Hindi siya coincidental. On the nose siya, but at the same time, it's not because merong na-create na backdrop. Siguro yung tanong ko is, if you are given a chance to create another film, siguro this is for everyone, not just strictly for Dodo. Siguro si Glyza, if she were to become a director at some point in her career, and same with Quark, provided na wala kayong budget constraints, wala kayong limitations at all, you can fly anywhere in the world, what kind of film will you create and what would they be about?
Sino gusto mo
wala pa ako sa konsepto ng storya, pero kung may genre akong gustong i-explore at gawin, gusto kong talagang mag-try mag-musical. Parang yung mga ginagawa, parang Rent, ganyan, or mga, anong tawag dito? Basta something na nagre-relate sa film, and siguro pag pinag-combine mo yung rock and roll saka yung midnight, parang ganun. Ganun gusto kong
Kumakanta sa dilim mo.
Hindi, iniisip ko kasi isang pelikula ni Tim Burton na nandun most of Tim Burton films naman nandun si Johnny Depp. Pero yung barber siya. Sweeney Todd. Kasi may, 'di ba, may bigla siyang kakanta doon. So parang ganun, medyo dark na musical na ganun.
Haircut in a Perfect World.
Haircut.
Joke lang.
Rock and roll in a perfect world.
Yes. Uy, congrats pala guys sa rock and roll din.
Salamat.
Netflix. Yes.
Ang saya nga kasi parang lahat ng mga ginawa ko in the last few years. Ngayon pag iniisip ko, pinapalabas siya ngayon, parang ang saya lang din isipin na, medyo relevant pa rin siya. Wow.
Grabe pa ang relevant pa naman siguro siya.
In fairness naman, parang kung si Midnight in a Perfect World, set siya in the future. Si Rock and Roll is a walk back, memory lane.
Yes, memory lane.
We're so happy na ikaw yung gumanap. Kami
I'm
na sister
so happy
ko.
too.
Fan siya.
I'm so happy.
Pala siya. Sabi ng sister ko, parang since Brazil days yun. Gustong-gusto na.
Talaga ba? Oh my God.
Pre-Grazilda
Ako
pa eh,
yun,
di ba?
before Grazilda.
Before Grazilda yung ano.
Before Grazilda pa. As in,
Ay,
bago pa lang
ayun.
ako sa GMA nung time na yun.
Ooh,
Mm.
okay.
So, yun. Yun. Isang actor lang yung ayaw namin dun. Pero may ako na sabihin, Gordon.
Sige, i-chat mo ako.
Charot lang.
Yan ba yung actor na sinasabi natin kanina? Oh,
Hindi.
Hindi.
diba? Oh, interesting.
Slide
Parang-
May guess ako, pero
Wala na alam sa music. Ano. Joke. Bata naman ako, guys. Sige na.
Anyway, going back to the
go.
Actually, sa rock and roll po na napanood si Glyza. So, may konting parang contribution
Parallels,
to rock and roll
yes.
kasi kinas ko si Glyza dahil sa performance niya sa rock and roll.
Wow!
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Inspired.
Yung parang doon ko nakita na parang pwede.
Oo.
Tara.
Pwede siya maging addict.
Glyza,
Pwede siya maging addict.
Pwede
Grabe.
siya maging manic, crazy person.
Oo. Ano, trying to be a manic pixie dream girl, naging addict na lang.
Magic star na lang.
Nightmare.
40 ko talaga yun eh. Yun yung yun talaga yung goal ko as an actor, yung maging addict ako sa mga
Na-typecast.
At least ni kontrabida, di ba?
Ayan.
Oy, nandun si Anthony
Oy.
Falcon.
Yes, we're now joined
What a
by
picture. What a
Anthony
picture.
Falcon.
What a picture.
What a picture.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening.
Hello,
Good
Tony.
evening.
Tony. My bad.
Hi.
Bili akong kape.
Hello.
What's up?
Yan.
Good.
So-
Good. Dito ako sa ay, malamig.
Malamig.
Oo nga, mukhang malamig sa tubig dyan eh.
Ayan. For reference, guys, Tony has also been in our show for the Gusto Kita with All My Hypothalamus episode. Yeah. Ayan.
Yeah.
Welcome back to
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Ayan. Yun, I guess i-ask na rin namin sa iyo, Anthony, yung in-ask namin kay Glyza, which is how was it working with your co-actors in Midnight in a Perfect World?
Oh, they were bad. No. I'm just
Lang
kidding.
nga kang ganda-ganda
They're
ng sinabi
really
ko sa'yo kanina.
Ano ba? Kanya-kanya kami ng proseso eh, no? Kanya-kanya kami ng proseso, pero we respect each other's boundaries and ways. But may kita mo naman yun na nagre-reflect dun sa trabaho, no? I think I can see them very dedicated to what we do. And then, basta ang pinaka-natatanda ko lang, yung isang pinaka-GV night namin, I think it was in Subic, no? Tapos may picture nga nun yung isang namin, document na nakaupo lang tayo ng kawentuhan. And yun lang, masaya yun. Habang nagsiset up sila Dodo. So, yeah, it was a good what you call this, production environment. Hindi lang sa mga co-actors, but Epic Media has been a really good production house, and Dodo, alam na naman din natin yan, no? Medyo alam ko na rin paano magtrabaho si Dodo saka yung aesthetics na gusto niya. So, yun. Saya.
Yun. Alright. O nga pala, by the way, yung first, di ba sabi ni Dodo, first time na nakita niya si Glyza was in Rock and Roll. The first movie that I saw Glyza in was a Cinemalaya film called Still Life.
Oy, yeah, with Derek Katsky.
Katsky Flores.
First Cinemalaya ko rin yun.
Yes.
Cool Dudes.
Oh my,
Cool
Cool
dudes.
dudes.
Ito yung first movie mo? Cool.
yes. Oo, first movie ever.
Wow.
Cool Dudes, 24/7.
By Ruel Bayani. Ito rin yun, di ba? First movie.
First movie niya rin.
Love team mo dun?
Ha?
Sino yung ka-love team mo?
Danila Barrios.
Oh my God.
Di ba?
I love it.
Antayan kinikilay. Yes. Tapat.
Di ko na, parang 15, 14 or 13 lang yata ako.
Wow. All right. Wow. Fairness.
Yes. Wala akong kaalam-alam sa industry.
Si
Ano
Dodo
yun,
pala, saan mo bakit naisipan mo i-cast si Anthony sa Violator? Kasi di ba you work with Tony dun sa Violator. So dito parang nakast, or hindi man, not necessarily na because of that nakast din siya dito, pero yun nga, So, ikaw naman, since kanina na-mention mo si Glyza sa rock and roll mo siya na unang napanood, paano naman si Tony? Like,
Nakakatawa yung kwento ni Anthony sa Violator kasi napanood ko siya sa Requieme. So, nung nag-cast kami ng Violator, pinahanap ko si Anthony to play the Timothy role originally. Kasi sa Requiem, payat-payat ni Anthony. Putya, nang dumating siya sa office, nagbubuhat laki ng katawan buhat. Sabi ko, shit, hindi na pwede ito. Kasi ini-imagine ko talaga yung ginagawa ni Timothy na gumagapang sa floor. So, pero nag-audition pa rin si Anthony for the Timothy role. It was a very different take and I could have gone with it. It was also very interesting yung atake niya. It was very different from Timothy's. Tapos sabi ko lang, ewan ko tama ba Anthony, sabi ko, gusto mo bang mag-read na rin for the policeman role? Kasi parang I just wanted Anthony to be in the cast. So kung hindi man siya devil, he has to be one of the leads. So yun, he pulled it off and yun, parang sige, ikaw na si Manabat. Tapos si Timothy na yung devil. So that was the genesis of it. Originally, I wanted Anthony for the devil.
Merong isang particular scene in the film. Actually, hindi siya scene, pero it's a shot in the film. And I shared this sa Pinoy Review ng 2021 as one of the best scenes, quote-unquote, of 2020. Yun yung parang acid trip na scene na parang pagtingin mo lang dun sa wall, parang like, hala, shit. Parang
yung
nakangariwan
ganun siya.
na. Oo. Saan nang galing yon? How did it came about? Paano niya siya na-visualize? Tsaka, gano'ng katagal bago niyo na-pull off yung ano na yan, yung shot na yan?
Saan nang galing? Ganun talaga acid trip. So, hindi siya matagal kasi composite shot siya eh. So, it took as long as, we had several takes of, ito ba yung pumasok yung kamay ni Jasmine sa wall?
Yun nga.
So, maraming options on how to pull it off. Meron pa kaming, magbubutas pa kami sa wall dapat. Pero, nung tinawagan namin yung VFX guy namin, sabi lang niya, hindi, direct, pahawak mo na lang na ako ng bahala. So, yun. Basically, just touch the wall and then si Vlad, who's our VFX guy, he just took care of the rest. So, medyo madali yung shot na yun in terms of mounting it and shooting it. Ang matagal yung the scene exactly before that. Kasi yun yung may rigging. Yung wallpaper na naglalakad siya ng mahaba. Took a while for us to set that up. Pero halos magkasunod na namin sinut yun eh. As in, right after the wallpaper scene, the corridor scene, lumipat lang yung camera sa kabilang side and then we shot the wallpaper scene. So almost in sequence yung dalawang shots na yun, even sa shoot.
Alright. Additional, parang follow-up to that question, one of the most parang striking parts of Midnight in a Perfect World ay yung blackout scene, no? Yung sobrang you shot scenes in complete darkness. So, how did you pull it off? And lalo na siguro yung hindi ba yung streetlights na namamatay na isa-isa? Parang did you have to ask permission from the city to do that? Or parang what tricks did you do to make that happen?
Yeah, yung namamatay yung mga ilaw, yeah, we had to ask permission. We had to shoot after, that was shot in Vertis yung one half of it, the other half sa Subic. So yung sa Vertis, we had to shoot after mall hours. Pero mga bandang 4 pa lang, nagre-rig na kami ng ilaw. That was our own lights. We could have the lights of the area shut down, pero hindi pwedeng isa-isa. Hindi namin makokontrol. So we had to have our own lights next to the actual lights. Tapos mayroon yung parang, may contraption yung gaffer ni Albert. Siya yung kinukue ko lang siya kung kailan niya papatayin. So, medyo madugo yun kasi we had to set it up really early. Tapos sa gabi pa namin i-shoot. So we had to, marami pa naman kami sinutin. Pero that was how that was done. We had to have our own lights. Yung sa actual darkness na, we shot it in a studio. Yun yung medyo pinaka-challenging. Kasi the shutting down of the lights was relatively easy. Kasi permit lang yan, tsaka cherry picker lang yan, tsaka scaffolding. Dali na yan eh. yung ma-capture yung absolute darkness, yun yung ilang linggo kami nagpi-pre-prod ni Bert tsaka ni Jim, hindi namin alam kung mapupull off namin. Until malapit na mag-shoot, sabi, sige, bahala na. And parang in hindsight, I think yung advantage na nakuha namin from not being, like for example, not having Hollywood money. Kasi kung ganun kalaki yung budget namin, I'm sure nag-isip kami ng ibang mamahaling way to pull that off. Pero since hindi ganun yung budget, at hindi naman tayo Hollywood, so we had no room to second guess or overthink yung process. So, sinut na lang namin siya ng ilaw talaga ay cellphone. I mean, it was almost shot literally. May daya ng konti kasi parang yung phone yata ni Glyza, flip phone pa. Yung kay Jasmine flip. Nilagyan namin siya ng maliliit na LED. Pang fill lang. Tapos may yung creatures, meron silang ilaw sa likod. To add konting sundot ng ilaw. Pero konting daya lang. Most of it is really just the cell phone light. Parang there was a time during pre-prod na si Ben tsaka si Carlo, our production designers, they wanted to mock up a part of the city inside the studio.
Wow.
I mean, mock up talaga. As in, lalagyan talaga ng structures. And we were almost this close to doing that. Kaso, parang pakiramdam namin, pag meron kang nakikita in the dark, magkakaroon ka ng orientation. So, mawawala yung pagiging irrational nung scene. Parang magkakaroon ka ng comfort. Ayun yung building, kita ko. So, we decided not to go with it. And it was, saved us logistically. So, we just had the studio to ourselves. Which was, in and of itself, medyo difficult na siya kasi wala talaga siyang ilaw. Tapos yung camera, constantly gumagalaw. Nasa relay siya eh. Saka Magnum Dolly siya. So, gumagalaw siya. So, delikado talaga kasi minsan mababangga mo yung mga tao na hindi mo alam kasi, madilim. Tapos walang markers. Hindi mo makita yung markers eh. So, talagang tansyahan din between the camera team and the actors. So, it was almost like parang non-negotiable na you only had to have at the most 2 actors on set. Kung if you had more, medyo mahihirapan na talaga kasi may mababangga at may mababangga ka with all the movement ko. Pero yeah, it was shot literally as it was on the screen. Ilaw lang ang cellphone.
Oh, so I guess follow-up dun is Glyza, you're one of the actors who acted in that pitch black scene. How did it feel to film yourself na ganun kadilim?
Favorite scene ko yun ever. Yung shoot namin yun sa studio, first time ko talaga maka-experience na wala ako nakikita. Kundi yung phone ko lang nakaganito siya sa mukha ko. Kaya kung ano yung nakikita niya dun sa film, yun lang yun. So, disorientating talaga. Tapos, may nakikita lang akong ilaw from the camera, yung kapag ka nagre-record, di ba, yung red na light. Tapos, yung kapag ka nag-cut na, biglang bubukas, hindi mo nasan ako? Di ba nandito ako kanina? May ganong feeling. And I'm just so thankful to be given this opportunity, as actors, di ba? Especially kapag kasanay ka lagi sa TV, you're always given this character na, may formula, ganyan. And I'm so thankful na through films like this, na-explore yung or na-challenge din yung way of thinking namin as actors. Scenes na shoot ko kasi first time na may na-encounter ako na ganitong klaseng way of filming.
Third World Cinema Club.
So, like, did you guys have any problems in terms of budgeting na, okay, so ito yung scene niya is, parang yung ganun na parang, itong scene na to is set in a studio na production, ganun. So, did you guys have, like, any problem producer?
Clarify ko lang na hindi siya budget constraints kasi compare ko siya sa Hollywood eh. Hindi naman talaga
okay.
afford
Oo.
May pera na.
and to be honest, alam mo bakit sabi ko kami ni na Jim at ni Bert, sanay kasi kami sa Cinema One budget. Nung nagbigay ng tech rec si na Bert, parang tuwan-tuwa kami kasi gaganda ng gamit. No, I don't think there was I never felt that in the strict sense of the word, the idea of constraints. Kasi I came from Violator na 2M yung budget. To come from that and to actually have the kinds of toys that we got to play with, way of working for us, I suppose, and it gave us more freedom to just be more creative aesthetically rather than think about the logistics of the shoot. So I don't think that ever came into play, to be honest. So yeah, ewan ko, hindi ko alam kasi hindi rin ako privy kung anong ginagawa nila Patty tsaka nila Bianca before the shoot, kung what they were going through getting the locations. All I remember was that everything that Bert, Jim, and I asked for nabibigay, which is parang nagtitigil na kami, parang hindi ganito dati. So ayun. Yung sinasabi ni Miss Bing, I think is I don't know, did they had the same scripts or
the same script, but we didn't want to bother her with an entire script.
Si Miss Bing kasi only got the script her parts in it, not for anything else kasi hindi naman din niya kailangan mabasa the rest. I think that was the prerogative ni na nung production. And I think I don't know if I suggested doing that kasi it sort of kept her a little bit in the dark, which sort of I hopefully helped her performance. Pero ginagawa ng Marvel yun, iwahiwala yung script. Pero hindi, that was out of I think si Miss Bing lang yung wala yung script na yun lang parts niya yung nakuha niya. I think she was the only one who got that.
Yeah. Siguro yung last question ko is, kasi I described Midnight in a Perfect World as, siguro if I would define the film, 6 degrees of gago. As in, may instances like, gago, hanggang sa like, gago? Ganun na yung level ng ng thinking ko. Kasi I watched it at a time when I was very tired mentally and physically. Ang mindfuck lang niya. So I guess my question is to everyone in the room, ano yung pinakagagong ginawa nyo ever sa set?
Ayaw sabihin.
Secret.
Na lang. Pwede i-shot.
Okay, guys, baka may magalit sa atin.
Okay, next question.
Next question.
Gagong ginawa ko, niligaw ko yung LP.
Yeah, love. Hi, Miss Tati.
Hi, Miss Becky. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Cute. Oo nga. Miss Glyza, nakalimutan din kitang batiin ng Presko.
Valentine's.
Showbiz question. So how, Q Cinema pala, na screenings, and now you guys have your own screenings, upstream, ganyan. So, since second or third week nyo na, yes. Diba? So,
hanggang 25th, no? February 25th, tama ba?
Yeah. So guys,
kamusta naman?
please go to upstream.ph and what?
Yes. Oy,
Yes.
actually, ang saya kasi napapanood na siya worldwide. So, napanood siya ni David sa Ireland.
Yeah,
So, talagang pinersuade ko siyang mag-download ka ng G-movies, gano'n. So, sobrang hindi siya familiar sa process kasi, 'di ba, magre-register ka pa, ganyan. But he said he really liked it. Pinanood niya ng gabi, so I think that also added to the experience. At I'm just really happy na na worldwide na kami streaming.
Yes.
At sana mag-extend pa.
Yes. Tsaka sabi ko nga sa isang comment before na ang ganda niya panoorin yung aesthetically sound yung film. Kasi kahit naka-headphones or speakers sa TV, maganda yung film in itself dun sa platform. So,
actually, other than the narrative, it's also the experience that you get kapag ka pinanood mo yung movie.
Oo, kasi parang kahit yung monster may sarili siyang base na parang kakabahan ka kasi nandun na siya. Ganon. Ayun.
Ayun, may naisip akong tanong kasi bigla ko naalala yung film na napanood ko 3 years ago sa Q Cinema. It's called Long Day's Journey into Night. May mga instances na yung shots ng film ng Long Day's Journey ay in a way similar dun sa Midnight in a Perfect World. Siguro yung last question ko na lang is, let's say walang pandemic, tapos ipapalabas natin yung pelikula sa sinehan. Do you feel like it should be shown in 3D or regular 2D lang siya dapat? What are your thoughts on that?
Hindi naman siya shinood for 3D, so baka may mangyari sa conversion na hindi maganda. 2D lang. Pero theater.
Theater. Baka Rafi?
Siguro siya.
IMAX
4DX, yung may parang kumakalabit na sa'yo dito.
Tapos yung gumagalaw din yung seat mo.
Oo, di ba?
Tapos may smoke.
Opening na ulit yung theaters, no? Like next week.
Oo nga daw.
Oo daw.
Scary.
Pero kayo ba, given na magbubukas ulit yung sinehan, do you feel like you can go back to them and watch movies?
Of course, na-miss ko yung ganong experience. And ayun, hopefully makaabot kami dun sa kasi iba yung iba rin kapag ka mapapanood mo siya on the big screen eh.
Yeah. If ever, would you consider releasing Midnight, re-releasing kumbaga, Midnight theatrically kahit na in a limited sense?
Yeah, sana.
For the experience, yes.
Ah! Madilim na kwarto. Dapat may nagpa-prank na tipong may halimaw biglang lalabas tas gagawin ka lang. Hablutin ka na lang bigla.
May naka-cosplay nung
halimaw.
Oo.
Kailangan tatabi na.
Paglabas mo ng sinihan, doon ka magpapapicture. Habang na.
Notable independent film actor si Monster.
Oo, no?
Actually.
Sa mga Love DS films and whatnot.
Oh, interesting.
Fairness sa kanya.
Very
Pero
very
dancer
solid.
talaga siya, diba? Dancer talaga si Monster.
Dancer ba siya?
Diba, Direk? Tama ba? Kasi,
galing nung back moves niya.
Alam ko. So, ayon sa chismis.
Ayon sa chismis.
Yun pala yung pinag-uusapan niyo dun sa picture, no? Ng BTS.
Oo, yun talaga. Galing nga, no? Siguro member siya ng Abstract dati.
Ayun. So, in lieu of any more questions, let's close this little talaga. Let's close this episode with our time-honored segment. What have you either watched, read, or done, recently. Ayun. Kahit na film, TV show, video game, tapos just tell us if you liked it or not. Ayun. May volunteer ba? Sino gustong mauna?
Ako,
Ayan,
Doc.
sige, Rafi, ikaw.
Naalala mo nung pinag-usapan natin with Bella and Irene yung Last Life in the Universe?
Yes, pinanood mo.
Pinanood ko na siya.
Kamusta naman?
Grabe. Like, wala akong masabi. Ang galing ni Tadano Buasano. Ang ganda nung pelikula. I would say na hindi ko siya naintindihan nung una kong panood. Tinry ko siyang panoodin ulit, doon ko siya mas na-grasp.
Yeah.
Yan, ganda.
It's one of my favorite films. Kaya ako nag-recommend niya kay Rafi. Kaya nung nagchikahan kami before an episode, sinabi ko, Rafi, napanood mo na yung Last Life in a Universe? Si Pen Ratarano ang star. Hindi pa. Ay, panoorin mo.
Si Penek ko, di ba? Penek?
Yes, si Penek to. Yan. So, if you can find it, it's a 2005 Thai film.
Siya ba si Ichi the Killer?
Yes, siya si Ichi the Killer.
Yes.
Last Life on Earth.
Last Life in the Universe.
Last Life in the Universe.
Again, sa chat. Yes.
Ayun. Ikaw, Jim, have you seen anything recently that you want to talk about?
Medyo madami.
Sige, isa na lang.
Pili ko lang isa.
Nakapanood ako ng restored version ng di ba, Soltero and Tinimbang ang Langit. And I was able to watch Hello Stranger, the movie, and Memories of Forgetting. So, yung Hello Stranger, I enjoyed it. Kumbaga, different ng environment since, di ba, during that time na pinalabas yung series, it's in screen life setting or treatment. And then, now, makikita mo sila in location, ganun. And ang napansin ko with Hello Stranger, mas nag-improve na yung writing. I believe because of Daniel Sanianas, help. Because siya rin naman yung writer ng Sila. Ayun. And nakakatuwa because it was directed by Direct Wayne Baltazar and magaling yung cinematography ni Martica Escobar. Ayun. Nagulat lang ako dun sa endorsement or product placement ng Bingo, pero I enjoyed it.
Sige, Ses, ikaw, anong napanood mo recently or na something recently na gusto mong pag-usapan?
Mabilis lang sa akin. To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Yung third na installment. Kailangan ko kasi siyang reviewin. So, pinaraton ko yung tatlo today. Okay naman. Feeling ko kung high school ako at ganun yung decisions. Yun, very teen bopper siya. Parang sabi ko, I'm not that kind of immature person. Pero feeling ko, parang i-relate ko siya sa mga high school na films ko nung panahon ko. So, ganito na siguro mag-isip yung mga bata ngayon na parang magkaiba lang sila ng college, nag-aaway na sila, ganyan. So, yes, I live in a very different time. Char.
Tumatanda lang tayo. It's yun lang naman yun.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting. Ayun. Gusto ko na nabigyan ng break si Jubilee. Si Jubilee yun, di ba, yung actress doon? Yun
si
lang.
Jubilee talaga.
Yun lang yung takeaway ko sa kanya.
Talaga X-Men reference. Ayun.
Yes.
So, ako naman, actually wala ako masyado napanood na movie recently. I recently watched the first episode of a TV series on Netflix, The House Arrest of Us, starring Katniel. Cute naman siya. Although wala akong time to watch additional episodes. It's not bad. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it naman. And I just need more time to watch it. I guess film-wise, may napanood akong film sa Netflix din. This is a Japanese comedy made in 2011 called The Woodsman and the Rain. So it's Yakusho Koji is a lumberjack working in a small town. Tapos he's unwittingly, parang inadvertently recruited to participate in the filming of a zombie movie. Yung sobrang B-grade movie. And it transforms into this movie about making movies na puno siya ng deadpan humor. Nakakatawa siya in that, very dry Japanese way. Parang feel ko ito yung mga tipong ipapalabas sa Egasai. Ayan.
Would you say na para siyang One Cut of the Dead?
It's not as energetic as One Cut. It's more, it's more slice of life-y, ganun. Na tipong nakakatuwa to the point, kasi diba, the lumberjack is a guy who knows everyone. And he begins to recruit other people from the town to participate in a zombie movie. Kasi yung before, parang sobrang wala na pa-participate, walang actor, sobrang low budget. But once the town starts getting involved, ang dami na nilang extras, parang nagiging epic na yung mga scenes nila. And yun, it's also about that one perfect moment when you're making a film, when everything clicks together and yun, parang magic happens. Yun lang. So it's on Netflix. If you can watch it, yun, panoorin nyo. Yun. So, sige, from our guests, parang in lieu of siguro End Slate, Quark, what have you watched or whatever recently?
Alam mo, napanood ko last night yung for the first time after wanting to watch it forever, ay yung Green Room. Parang forever takot si Bianca. I never wanted to watch it. Finally na-convince ko siya to watch Green Room. Na ayun nga, 'di ba? Parang yung story. Napanood mo ba, Glay? Yung
hindi yata.
Parang siya, punk band. Tapos tumugtog sila sa parang neo-Nazi na town. Yun pala, parang may na-witness silang murder yung band. So parang medyo horror suspense na they have to protect each other from an attack from all the neo-Nazis. Pero okay na rin na na hinintay ko yung kasi 2016 pa siya, buhay pa si Anthony Elchin, di ba? But,
yes. Oo. Si Anthony
Elchin. I'm glad I waited for it na kasi parang maga.
Parang
nakakatakot. And then I rewatched Boogie Nights 3 days ago, which is one of my favorite films. Showed it also to my wife for the first time. Pero parang na-realize, nag-mature na ako, mas gusto ko na yung There Will Be Blood. pero I mean, super love ko pa rin yung Boogie Nights. And we're watching one of Dodo's favorite films tonight. I will show her Chungking Express. Para Valentine's and Chinese New Year.
Wow. Very
in the mood for love,
Oh, di ba?
Di ba? Very romantic. Ayun. Siguro, Anthony, meron ka bang napanood or na pelikula, nalaro na game, nabasang libro, or recently?
Ako on top of my head, Emily in Paris.
Emily in Paris. Wow.
Oh, pakit lang siya. I think I attempted once, tapos hindi ko siya natapos. Tapos I just found a headspace, parang gusto ko lang ng pakiyot. Of course, may mga problematic, pero masaya lang siya kasi I've been in Paris eh. So, yung mga nakikita mong location, I think it appeals to me because of nostalgia. More than anything. Pero masaya siya. Cute-cute lang.
Yan, Emily in Paris.
Ako, it appeals to me dahil kay Lucas Bravo.
Oh.
Yummy, no?
Ganun. Ayun, so
hello.
segue tayo, Glyza, ikaw naman. Have you watched or read or experienced anything recently?
Experience recently. Pinapanood ko on the way here kasi galing ako ng Baler kanina, Sky Castle, yung Korean drama. And then the other night, nag-start kami panoorin yung crime scene, yung Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. And then, recently nag-release din ako ng song kahapon lang actually.
Wow!
Sinegoy it's called Bank Holiday. So, kung trip nyo lang na mag-sounds mamaya, nasa Spotify na siya or YouTube and Apple Music.
Yan.
Yay.
And finally, Dodo, what have you recently? What piece of media have you consumed recently?
Hindi to recent. I think I saw it late last year. Pero it's been a while na sobrang na in love sa dalawang pelikula na hanggang ngayon iniisip ko siya. One is Wild Goose Lake, Chinese film. It's a Chinese film noir. I think it was in Cannes noong 2020.
Yep.
Same director ng Black Cold, Thin Ice.
Yes.
Didn't expect anything when I saw it, pero sobra siyang mind-blowing. It's may action, it's basically a noir, a Chinese noir. So, yun. Tsaka Lovers Rock. Yung episode siya, pero film siya.
Anong Small Axe.
Yeah, pero actually mahaba siya. Sa buong Small Axe, yun ang favorite ko. Sobrang wasak ng filmmaking lang.
Sobrang vibes lang ng Lovers Rock.
Nasa party lang siya the whole night, pero po siya wasak.
Parang a night B-side nga eh.
Oo, di ba? galing. Kasi music, ang ganda. Walang narrative, walang plot, nothing. Pero sobrang ganda ng pakiramdam niya. And I think it's only my second Steve McQueen thing that yung Small Axe was the second, the whole of Small Axe. Before that, Hunger pa lang yung napapanood ko sa kanya. So, sobra ako impressed.
So, pinanood mo yung 5 pelikula ng Small Axe, direct?
Pero favorite ko yung Lovers Rock.
Lovers Rock.
Yeah.
John, may tanong ako sa kanila. Pero ano naman to, not related to Midnight in a Perfect World because
ano to?
it's
Showbiz ba to?
Valentine's
Showbiz?
Hindi showbiz. Ano ka ba? Kasi regarding Valentine's Day, no? So I'm curious, ano yung top 3 romantic films for them? Yung favorite nila na 3 romantic films for them. Pwedeng rom-com, pwedeng LGBT, pwedeng romance films, gano'n.
Of course, that list will change.
9 o'clock na, Jim, yung wala naisip.
Padagdag. Sige lang.
Go lang.
Sino gustong mauna sa inyo?
Pero wag pero wag po yung sariling pelikula like Sleepless. Syempre dapat iba.
Yun sana yung sasabihin ko eh.
Grabe, Jim, pinahirapan mo eh.
Sorry.
Alam mo, Glyza, kapuso yun si Jim eh.
Kapuso yan si Jim eh. Channel 7, hanapin mo yan sa hanapin mo yan sa Channel 7.
Oh my God.
Pwede namang local, pwedeng foreign, pwedeng Hollywood.
Best romantic. Sige meron ako.
Sige, Dada.
Sinabi na ni Quark yung isa, Chungking.
Chungking, yeah.
Favorite film din. Tapos, Love Letter ni Shunji Iwai.
Yes! Oh my God.
Yes! Sinabi ko yan kina Bella at Irene. Okay.
Solid. Tapos, yung third ko ay Once.
Once?
Oh my God. Gusto
John
ko rin Once.
Actually, madami pa, pero yun na muna.
Madami. Yun, super highly recommend Love Letter din. Also, kung ako yun, sasama ko din sa listahan ko yun. One of my favorite romantic films.
Gusto ko pala sabihin ng Rafi na gustong-gusto ko yung soundtrack ng Love Letter. As in, ano yun?
Diba?
May era na on repeat lang yung soundtrack.
Daijobu desu ka?
Actually, yung soundtrack ng 3 pelikula, lahat yon ang gaganda ng soundtrack. Siguro, especially Once para sa akin. Isa yun sa mga paborito ko musicals ever. Nakakabigla ako.
Ayun. Ano pa ba? Quark or Glyza? Or Tony? Meron kayong favorite romantic film?
Romantic ba? Or love film?
Love film?
Ayun, nabanggit ko kanina, In the Mood for Love.
In the Mood?
May isa yun sa isip ko. A Walk to Remember.
Oo.
Sabihin ko rin sana yung Once eh. Pero, recently, pinanood kasi namin yung, The Holiday nung nasa Ireland ako. So, nagustuhan ko siya.
The Holiday. Yeah.
The Holiday. Sila, Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Jude Law. Ayun.
Nagustuhan ko yun because of yung sa soundtrack siya ng Cinema Paradiso. Yun yung pinauulit-ulit na. Sabi ni
Ako naman nagustuhan ko
Let's
yung
Abuse
Holiday.
Ennio Morricone.
Nagustuhan ko yung Holiday because of Jude Law.
Ako dahil kay
Hindi
Kate
talaga.
Winslet kasi siya eh, 'di ba mainstream film siya. Tapos nandun pa din yung ba't ganun? Ang galing niyang umarte.
Kinarir pa rin ni ate.
Oo, kinareer pa rin niya kahit na yung putsu-putsu lang. Career pa din. Ay, hindi, isa pa pala. Sorry. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, yes.
Yay!
Sorry, tayo sila ng
Gondry Kaufman.
Kasi since Kate Winslet, naalala ko pala.
Sobrang iconic nung opening nun, yung Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime ni Beck. No? Tapos nandun siya sa kotse, tapos parang, Quark, ikaw. Maliban na siguro sa Chungking Express na nasabi mo.
Well, guilty pleasure ko talaga. As in, super favorite ko yung Sleepless in Seattle.
Kala ko Sleepless.
Natagdagan pa ng dalawang salita eh.
Parang twist.
Insert talaga eh. Di ba?
Sleepless in Seattle.
Pero in Seattle.
Yung niya, Sleepless in Seattle. One word.
Okay lang.
Pero singles ni Cameron.
Oy, okay din yun.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Grabe.
Diba? And,
Yung waterfall na scene.
Yeah. Si Bridget Fonda, spirit animal ko yun.
Bridget Fonda. Gandang-ganda ako sa kanya noon.
Ano nangyari dun?
Kaya nga nasaan na siya?
Bridget Fonda now.
Buhay pa ba si Bridget Fonda?
Si Danny Elfman. Retired na lang.
Husband si Danny Elfman.
Oh, the
Siyempre,
composer.
marami ng fantasy.
May napanood ako sa cinema nila a long time ago na it's a movie called The Pornographic Affair. Film na sobrang naging influential sa akin. Pero once ko lang napanood, hindi ko na siya mahanap. Pero one of those things na actually yung keka structure medyo ninakaw ko doon sa Pornographic Affair.
Is this This is a French film, right? French?
Yeah. So parang he said, she said and then but ang ganda niya. But for some weird reason, parang forgotten siya.
Yeah.
And very hard to find.
Hard to find. Hanapin niyo yun, guys. 1999-ish. Yun. Basta late 90s, no? French film. Yeah. Ayun. And last but not the least, yan, Tony. Yan. Could you give us one favorite romantic film?
Nakakatawa. Wala akong may ko-contribute. Kaya pa ako nag-iisip muli ako. Napaka-anticlimactic nito para sa mga nakikinig.
May drum roll.
Pwede bang 51st dates, Booksmart, ganyan.
Meron ka.
51st dates.
Oh.
Well, this is a no judgment zone.
Yes.
Ayun, 51st date.
Ay, gusto ko yung 51st dates.
Pero alam mo,
Booksmart.
Yeah.
Booksmart.
Booksmart is a really fun film. Yeah.
Yes.
And alam mo kung tutuusin, gusto ko with All My Hypothalamus is also a love story. Pero to Manila. In love sila sa Maynila, di ba?
May sarili ka ambag. Promote mo.
May ambag. Promote. Please watch our film. Kakaiba pong Kakaiba pong Queen Baltasar.
Now on Signal Play.
Now on Signal Play. 75 pesos lang.
Wow.
Daming layerings ng episode na to.
Free promo.
From reception.
Ayun. So, with that said, thank you so much everyone for joining us. Ayun. And hopefully in the future, Midnight in the Perfect World 2, Electric Boogaloo, joke lang. Or Sunrise in a Perfect World. Para naging Ay, before sunrise.
Before
Ganun. Yung before
Ay,
trilogy.
Wow.
Parang blindness, yung maliwanag pero may horror.
Sunrise in a perfect world, sunset in a perfect world, noontime in a perfect world. Yan yung mga sequels. Yan. Maganda yan ang horror in broad daylight. Baka magawa natin yan. Pero, joke lang. Pero half joke.
Midsommar? Yan ang Midsommar.
Midsommar, di ba? Parang ganong feels.
Midsommar.
Half joke lang yan. Half joke. Yan. So, again, once again, thank you, Glyza, Do, Quark, Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So, ulitin. Yan.
Thank
Happy
you.
Valentine's Day, guys.
Happy Valentine's.
May love,
Happy Valentine's.
may love,
Happy Valentine's.
may love keep you safe. Ano yung love keep you safe? Ano yung sinabi ko? Ano pinagsasabi ko?
May love keep us alive.
May love
Yes.
keep us alive.
May love.
Yan.
Kanta yun na.
Oo nga.
Love is a battlefield. Love.
Love is a thing called love.
Love is a
I
four-letter
believe in a
word.
thing called love pala yun.
Thank you
Yan.
for attending. Yes.
Thank you
Okay
for
na.
attending.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Happy Valentine's, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Keep safe, guys.
Bye.